Hey guys, how are you today? Great, I'm very happy to see you today. I hope you're feeling excited because today we're going to learn something that you will use every single day when you speak English. But before we begin, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever heard about modal verbs? Maybe some of you have heard that name before, and maybe some of you haven't. Don't worry, that's completely normal. Today we'll learn what they are, what they are used for, and how to use them correctly in everyday in English. Let's begin our journey into modal verbs. First of all, what are modal verbs? Modal verbs are helping verbs that work with a main verb to add meaning. They can express ability, permission, advice, or obligation. For example, I swim becomes I can swim. One small word changes the meaning of the whole sentence. And then we have what are they for? We use modal verbs every day to communicate different ideas. They help us ask for permission, give advice, express possibility, show obligation, make requests, and talk about the future predictions. They make our English clearer and more natural. We have the characteristics. Modal verbs have three important rules. First, they never change their forms. Second, they are always followed by the base form of the verb. Third, they don't need do or does to make questions or negative. And then we have what are they used for and when. Modal verbs have different uses. We use can for ability, may for permission, might for possibility, must for obligation, should for advice, could and would for polite request, and will for future predictions. And then we have type of modal verbs. Now that we've learned the different uses of modal verbs, let's look at the most common ones. Today we'll focus on 8 modal verbs because they are the ones you'll use most often in everyday English. You can see on the screen. They are can't, could, may, might, must, should, will, and would. Although they all belong to the same group, each one has a different purpose. Some are used to talk about ability, others express permission or possibility, while some are used to give advice, express obligation, make polite requests, or talk about the future. It's important to remember that there isn't one modal verb for every situation. The modal verb you choose depends on the message you want to communicate. We'll compare these modal verbs in pairs so you can clearly understand when to use each one as and avoid the most common mistakes. For example, confusing would, will, confuse can't, could, or something like this. And then we have the sentence structure. The structure is simple. In affirmative sentence, subject plus modal plus base verb. In negative sentence, at, not, after the modal verb, and lately for questions, place the modal verb before the subject. And then we have difference between similar. Can versus could. Can is used for present ability and informal permission. Could is used for past ability and polite request. May versus might. Both express possibility. May shows a stronger possibility, while might suggests a weaker one. Must versus should. Must express obligation or rules. Should is used to give advice or recommendation. Will versus would. Will is used for future actions and predictions. Would is used for polite requests and hypothetical situations. Well, guys, today we're learning what moral verbs are, the characteristics, their uses, and the difference between the most common ones. Keep practicing them every day because they're helping you communicate more naturally in English. Thank you for listening and see you next class.